Hi everyone. Hell of an intro, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being here today or for tuning in virtually. We really appreciate the chance to speak to you today. My name is Joelle Drummond. I'm 29 years old. I'm from Swansea, and that is where I studied twice because once isn't quite enough. I don't know how many of you agree with that. So I did my BA in French and Italian and my MA in translation and interpreting, which might seem pretty random considering I now brew beer.
Yeah. And I am Sarah Drummond, wife of Joelle. I am 29, although actually I'm 30, although I don't like to say it. I'm originally from Australia, now living in Swansea for 5 years, I think it's been. And I studied at Monash University in Melbourne. I did 1.5 degrees. I did a Bachelor of Commerce and I did half a law degree as well.
I don't think you can do half a degree.
Yeah.
We disagree on this one. And in case you're wondering who that randomer is in the middle of the screen and on our t-shirts, that is Drop Bear. It's our company. It's an alcohol-free brewery, and we are the co-founding directors. So I just briefly wanted to put our mission statement on the board because we strongly believe that for every company, it's important to have a strong mission statement that guides you through the hard times, the good times, the distractions, the failures, the fears. And this is ours. But building off of this, we also feel it's very important to have a personal mission statement. So while we're talking today, we'd like you to just have a little think internally about what your mission is that will guide you through the distractions in your life, through the hard times and the fears. So coming back to our company one, in a nutshell, it's about brewing the best alcohol-free beer that we can and doing it in the best way for people and planet.
Right, so this is our range here, our babies as we call them. So we've got 4 beers ranging from a New Old Lager to a Bonfire Stout. So we've really tried to create something that, you know, there's something there for everyone, although we hope there is. And we've got multiple awards, as you can see, which has really helped us in the industry, really helped to legitimize us as a real craft brand. And there's still that kind of perception that, you know, alcohol-free beer doesn't taste that great, but I promise you ours does. We've created them so that they're really accessible to everyone as well. So they're vegan, gluten-free, and they're really, really low calorie.
And just to clarify further more about what Drop Bear is, when we started Drop Bear, when I say it's a very grassroots story, I quite literally mean it. We were not rich, we didn't have anything, no money, no experience, nothing, just a big saucepan and an even bigger dream. So when we took a break from drinking, we, as consumers, realised there was a gap in the market. You know, we were going out on a Saturday with our friends. They were having pints of lager, IPA, and we were being offered an orange juice or coffee. And at 11 p.m. on a Saturday, it doesn't quite hit the same spot. So we did our research, realised actually there's a huge opportunity here to make a real difference and a bit of money, let's be honest. And yeah, we took it from our life savings in a saucepan to now being a multi-award-winning, multi-million-pound business across the world. So it's been a huge journey with lots of fears and failures along the way, and we look forward to discussing a couple of them. Never thought I'd say that with you today.
Okay, so I'm going to quote Paolo here to start us off. So the secret to life is to fall 7 times and to get up 8. And we think this is really, it really does encapsulate what, you know, our journey as business people as well.
Yeah, when we were putting this deck together, we'll be honest, we're many things, but we're not great philosophers. So we sought inspiration from others who are more philosophical than us. And this one really resonated from our own and also experiences that we see with other entrepreneurs and business owners and just people generally that we know. So, you know, as first-time business owners, something that's really hit us is toxic positivity in business, but also in life. People don't like to talk about the hard times, the failures, the fears. Everyone likes to focus on the positive. So if we didn't talk about things like this, you would look at our story and think, oh, it's all great, I can do that, and it'll just be an easy ride. And we want everyone to have great success in their life, but we can't do that unless we talk about the reality of it. So It's a very taboo subject, but we're here today to help make it less of a taboo subject. So just to get started, success and failure come hand in hand. Success is the opposite. So to know what failure is, we need to know what success is. And they're not black and white. Success to one person might be failure to another. So before we kick off, I want you to think about what success and failure are to you right now in your current situation and what it is in the grander scheme of your life. So when you're doing this, I'd also like you to take a holistic view. So don't just think about university or your career, think about all aspects of your life because it's all important.
Okay, so I'll go first then. To take a holistic view of it, for starters, for a job, I've always wanted to do something that adds something to the world. And I know we just make beer, but we do make alcohol-free beer, and it does help people who want to moderate or who want to, stop their drinking. We're also a B Corp, which is really great as well. We have a triple bottom line to make sure that we have to consider things other than profit, and we're also carbon neutral. So doing all that stuff does help me feel, a bit better about what we do. Financially, I want to be comfortable. But I don't need to be uber rich. I don't need a Ferrari.
She's lying. She wants a Ferrari.
Maybe a little bit. Family, like all of us, I want to have a happy family. And I do want to kind of conquer a bit of that generational trauma that I'm sure we're all kind of aware of. I personally, I want to be constantly growing and learning and be the best version of myself that I can be, and never accept that, you're just done. I want to always be better. Health-wise, I want to really learn again as much as I can and, be really healthy. I want to live forever as long as I can, and just be there for my family as long as I can be. So I've talked about what, success is to me. So I'm going to talk a bit about my fear of failure. So for me, it kind of really started at school. So in Australia, where I'm from, we have something called VCE, which is essentially A levels. And I went at it really hard, too hard. I wanted to be the absolute best. I wanted to get straight A's and do everything that I could. And I did. I ended up in the top 1.3% of my state, which is great. I got into law, I got into commerce, but I was completely burnt out and done at the end of it. So I got to uni and I felt completely overwhelmed and I had no energy. And I thought, okay, I'm also scared that it's a new kind of situation for me. I'm scared I'm not going to be on top again. I'm scared that I'm not going to succeed. So I didn't try. I just was like, okay, if I don't try, I can't fail. And obviously I see the logic there wasn't exactly right, but that's what I did. So I have learned now that that the failure there is not trying, and I still wish that I could have actually seen that, and I think I should have probably taken some time off and
gap year.
Yeah, taken a gap year, maybe traveled Europe or something like that. But that's something that I still think about today, and has really helped me to be like, when I'm in my business world, you have to try, because you can't be repeating the same mistakes.
Now on to me. So given that we are married, success to us does look relatively similar, but I will discuss what it is to me anyway. So career-wise, similar to Sarah, something that really inspires me. So as you have seen, we've won lots of awards, we have lots of positive reviews, and whilst that is great, and obviously as a business owner, that's what we need to see, the thing that really inspires me every day is our customer. And, there have been moments where we've had personal messages from customers that have really made a difference. For example, a while back, we had an anonymous email from a customer saying, "Thank you, your beer has saved my life." And when we started a company like this, that's not something I was going out to do. I wasn't going out to save someone's life. And I still can't quite believe it, but it really hit me. So even if the business failed tomorrow, the fact that we've already achieved that, it's a success to me. Financially, I'd also like to be comfortable. I don't need to be uber rich. It's been hard because I come from a very working class background from the valleys in Wales. So money's always been something that's given me a lot of fear. So I've had to work through that personally, but I'm in a good place. and I know that I just need enough to be comfortable. I don't need to be rich. Personally, I'd like to have lots of adventures. My most recent adventures are just going to the supermarket, I'll be real, but always striving to be more adventurous. And family-wise, I'd like a big, happy family, break some generational trauma. We're all trying to do it, millennials and Gen Z. Health-wise, I want to be that relative that everyone thinks is never going to die and prove them right. I'm too stubborn. I don't want to go. I'm here to stay. And also, I just wanted to say that these goals are all obviously weighted. There are certain things that are more important to me that would mean that even if I didn't achieve all of them, I wouldn't be a failure. I just want to be happy and healthy at the end of the day. So first of all, admire my great photoshopping skills there.
It's very good.
Yeah, new talent. One of my biggest fears is the impact of my failure on others. So as I mentioned, money has always been something that's scared me a lot, to the point where I can't talk about it. I pretend it doesn't exist. Obviously, you can't go through life like that. You can't go running a business like that either, as I've learned. So working through that has been really helpful. However, the way we run Drop Bear, we've gone through 3 investment rounds. We've raised over £2 million, which is fantastic. As a result of that, we now have over 800 investors. Great. I wouldn't change it for the world. They're our biggest advocates and they spend a lot of money as well. But whilst I know that if Drop Bear failed, I would be okay. I would always be able to go find more money. I would just make it happen. I would make it work. I can't be sure that the 800 people that are relying on me to make it a success are in the same position. There are people who've put in £10. There are people who've put in 20 grand, people who've put in over $1 million, and that scares me. And to be honest, it still scares me now. And whilst I'm talking about it, I'm like, ugh. But something that really has helped me with this is trying to change my perspective. I can be a control freak, as Sarah will testify to. But at the end of the day, you can't control everything in life. All I can control in this situation is what I do, how hard I work, and the direction of the business. And know that I need to have a bit of flexibility, that if something isn't working, I just need to change direction. So now we wanted to talk about actual failures that we have had. Fun. So the first one for me, I think, goes back to my undergrad in uni between 2012 and 2016, when I did French and Italian. I was so determined not to be the best that I could be, but to be the best that there was. I wanted to be the best in the university at Italian. I was so determined that I turned down so many opportunities for further learning on different topics, different languages, a more holistic view of education, which I just missed out on. I was so obsessed with the number on the piece of paper, and I did it. I graduated top of my class. I got the Amel di Vera's prize for best student of Italian, and I was really proud. But as I've gotten older, I've looked back and thought, I really messed up there. And it was just a tunnel view vision of success, which is why I've asked you today to take a holistic view on it, because success isn't one thing, as failure isn't one thing. And then another small failure, but one that would have felt like a big failure, being a perfectionist years ago. When we were creating the recipes for Drop Bear, we were dosing the pale ale with yuzu extract. So we're talking minute amounts. So we needed a pipette, so just one. But I accidentally had a delivery of 1,000 delivered to our tiny one-bedroom apartment.
And we still have them.
And we still have them.
Want pipettes, a couple.
Yes, we are in the business of selling pipettes these days. So, it's not a big deal, and I'm laughing about it, and I know it's ridiculous, but if that had been 5 years ago, I'd have been like, why was I so stupid? Why wasn't I paying attention? And I wasn't paying attention because I was so scared, so het up of doing the wrong thing that I did. So it's about having perspective, which I now have.
So for my failures, then, so a very literal failure was when I forgot my calculator to a finance exam, and then obviously failed the exam. And that was the first time I'd actually failed an exam for a very, very long time. So that kind of woke me up at uni, and did help me turn around, or try to turn around, the second half of my degree. It was just a bit of a shock, actually failing. But I didn't beat myself up about it. I just said, okay, you need to turn this around and just get up again, which is what I did. In Drop Bear, I've had a similar kind of failure to Joelle. A couple of years ago, got a call from a retailer, which is a brand new retailer, and they said, hi, are you aware that 3 out of 4 of your products have the same barcode? And I said, no, that can't be right. Went and checked them all, and they did. 3 of them had the exact same barcode, and that was my fault because I hadn't proofed the barcodes when we got some new barcodes done. So these days, we get barcodes checked by at least 3 people on at least 5 different occasions. So at the time it felt like the worst thing in the world. It was a brand new retailer, but you've just got to keep getting back up, and you've got to accept, okay, we made a mistake, or I made a mistake, and just make changes, and that's exactly what I did.
And it did feel like a massive deal at the time. I remember I'll be honest, we argued about it. There were raised voices at the time. It was a brand new retailer, one of the biggest ones we'd had. If ever a time to make a mistake, it wasn't then.
No.
But we still have them. They're still a customer. They're one of our biggest customers. So it really wasn't a big deal.
Everything worked out.
It did. Everything works out in the end. So we wanted to share some tips from our experience. In case you're not getting it, we failed lots of times in big ways and little ways. We're a mosaic of our failures and successes.
Yes.
So one key thing is having a support system that is solid. That ranges from having a really good selection of people around you that can help you build yourself back up when you inevitably fail. We're all going to fail at some point. That means having a backup plan, and also having a little bit of money put aside. You might not be able to save a lot, but if you can just save a tiny amount, just so that if things do fall apart at any point, you have something to get you by until you can work out what your plan B is. Because sometimes it's hard and you don't want to rush into things. And it does help remove some of the pressure. And that's what's helped with me. I am a major overthinker. I do catastrophize. Do I?
Oh, yeah.
So knowing that I have plan B, a little bit of money put aside, and good people around me helps remove pressure on my worst days.
Yeah. I think another thing as well that you learn in life and obviously in business is that a lot of people don't know what they're doing. And a lot of people make mistakes, and a lot of those people are successful people. And they've all made mistakes, and they've learned from them, which is what makes them successful. So not kind of, I guess the next point there is not realizing that it's not an even playing field. That we all have different circumstances, we all have different backgrounds, and we're not equal in a lot of instances. So not beating yourself up when you're here and someone else is over there. You don't know what their circumstances are that have allowed them to get there, or that's keeping you back here. So I think that's something that really helps us to set expectations and put things in context as well.
And the different hurdles that face different people.
Exactly.
Being part of the LGBT+ community, being a woman, being of a different ethnic background, anything.
Yeah. Being gay women in beer is
not ideal. It's not ideal.
No.
But we make it work.
Yeah.
So then I've mentioned perspective a lot, and I'm going to mention it again. Sorry to be boring. So as I've said, success and failure isn't black and white, and just remember that. That's something that we struggled with at the start. When we started Drop Bear, we had a very, very narrow view of what success was to us. But actually, we don't even share that same view anymore. Success is very different, and we acknowledge that we've had lots of different successes along the way. Failure, I'd like it if we could all, and myself included, stop treating failure as an end destination that we're all frantically trying to avoid reaching on the train of life. I now try being the key word here, to treat failure as more of a detour rather than a destination. Treat it as a bump in the road, or maybe a nudge in maybe a better direction at times, which has been the case for us.
So many times we have had a failure, and then we look back at it and we say, actually, if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't be here. So you really do have to look at it in that way. You never know what direction that is pushing you towards.
Exactly. And, going back to Sarah's story, realizing that not trying is failing in itself. So don't let the fear consume you, which it has done to both of us at different times in our lives. It's never too late to change direction with that either. So for me, I was so obsessed with being the best with languages. When I graduated, I actually realized I don't want to work in languages anymore. And I felt like a massive failure because I'd spent, 5 years of my life studying, all my energy, all my burnout. And I didn't want to do it anymore. So I felt like a massive failure, but actually I changed direction and now I have Drop Bear and I feel it's a success. I like to think. Learning from my story, you don't always need to be the best, just do your best. And as you get older, that is easier. And at the end of the day, just don't hide from it. Don't hide from failure. It happens to all of us. Acknowledge it, revel in it sometimes and learn from it, and just take pride in the fact that you actually tried. A lot of people don't and are proud of the fact that they've never failed, which isn't true anyway. But if you go out there, you try, you fail, that is a success in my eyes. So.
And we've just got a couple of lovely pictures. I wish you wouldn't use that.
You're so strong.
We're just trying to illustrate here that, you know, this was very early days, the top two pictures. We don't do this anymore. But, you know, the fear was different. The fear was we've just put everything into this. We put our life savings and we're not brewers. What are we doing? But we got through that and we kept going, and we've been going now for 4 years. And, you know, this is where we are now. We have raised loads of money. We are building a brewery. We have award-winning products. You know, the fear's different now. That the stakes feel higher, but we every day keep getting up and hope that today's a good day. And if it's not, okay, well, we'll make it work. And that's what we do. Yeah.
And I think it's nice. It's a nice activity for us actually to stand here and think about what we've managed to achieve by overcoming the fear.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice insight to knowing that if you just tip yourself over and overcome your fear, the world's your oyster.
And things will get better.
Things always get better. So yeah, this is some of the growth that we've seen. Just building off of that picture of overcoming fear. We've had 3+ years trading in the UK and across the world now. Nearly 4, that's scary. Yeah. But the first 3 years of running a business are actually the riskiest. So when we passed that milestone, it was a huge sigh of relief, wasn't it?
Yep.
So I feel like everything's fine now. We've won 30+ awards for our beer and our business, which always helps with the imposter syndrome. And we've raised over £2 million investment, which, as Sarah said, as 2 gay women who were quite young as well in the beer industry, that is hard work, and that's a huge success of ours.
And this is where you can buy us, because obviously now you're going to want to go and buy us. Always be selling. So yeah, we're in Tesco, Ocado, Amazon, and you know, all over the world now. So yeah, we're really, really proud of that map.
Perfect. So we are coming to the end, and we'll leave the floor open now for any questions. Nothing's off limits.
Well,
nearly nothing. Yeah, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.